You're going to have a liposuction. You've read all the terms and conditions. You've read all the risk that it takes to, and you're okay with it, right? But you didn't expect this other side effects. Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. If it's your first time here, welcome to the family. So, stories from the internet. I was just minding my own business when I saw a viral video that has been going around on TikTok. In this story, I want to do a live reaction to it. I only downloaded the videos and then I'm going to share this and give a comment. But I do know what the story is possibly about. Let's get into it.
So this is part one, guys, and I know a lot of people have a lot of questions. I myself personally have a lot of questions. I'm just gonna I did the two previous videos. As you guys can see, I don't really post like that. I'm not a big social media girl, but I know what the effects that social media have, and I'm just hoping that some type of justice can be had. Some type of justice can be had. When I did the put your finger down video, I just did that as like an attention grabber to like move traffic to my page so I could tell my story. But please, in no way, shape, form, or fashion think this is a game or I take it lightly or anything like that. This is not okay. And I'm just now sharing after 7 months because the Miami Police Department just kept telling me, well, if you do anything, if you say anything, it's going to impede on our investigation. It's going to mess up the investigation. And I believed them like a dummy, like an idiot. I believed them. And I'm just going to, share as many facts as I can. Mind you guys, this happened in September of 2025. This happened in September of 2025. Babe, do you mind giving me that phone? This happened September 2025. Actually, it happened September 16th. And also, can you hand me those papers right there? So, and I was notified. I want to make sure I have all the dates right for you guys. I was notified. So September 16th, I had my surgery. That night, after I woke up out of anesthesia, I was in the hospital. Like, I couldn't talk. I couldn't eat. Even drinking water hurt like hell. Like, that's how inflamed my throat was. That's how much damage had occurred to my throat. And then it was, and Detective Diaz had reached out to me October 22nd. I remember because it was October 29th. I remember because it was the Wednesday before Halloween. As you guys can see, I just got my bachelor's degree and I was in class, and that's why I remember the date, because she called me while I was in class. I had to step out of lecture and go to the restroom, and she was like, oh, okay, I'll just call you back. So I'm thinking nothing of it, and she didn't want to tell me while I was in class because my reaction to anyone's reaction to find out that they had been raped by their plastic surgeon while being unconscious, like, she didn't want me to flip out like that in class. So I called her back after the lecture was over, and that's when she broke the news to me. I flipped out, and she said that they were going to start the investigation. But so September 16th, it was like a lot of ripping and running. Mind you, this is my wife, Jay. I don't know if you want to say hey. That's my wife, Jay. She was with me during the whole getting ready for the surgery and everything. Mind you, they allowed her to come into the building the whole time. You had to go through pre-ops. You had to meet with the surgeon. It's like so many loops and like avenues you have to navigate prior to having surgery. You have to do all this testing, everything. You have to sustain from sex. You can't smoke. It's so much that they have to do to make sure you're healthy enough to have a cosmetic procedure. This is not my first cosmetic procedure, so I was prepared to, do everything. So they let her come into the building, which we thought was so weird, because when they brought me out of the building, after the surgery and they brought me out of the building, they told her she can't come in. And I was still unconscious. I was still under anesthesia. The only reason I woke up a little bit is because how roughly they were handling me to get me downstairs, into the elevator downstairs and into the car. And I vaguely remember being awake for like 2-3 minutes. But prior to my surgery, this is the 15th, September 15th, I had to meet with Dr. Valadares, and I was like one of the last patients. It was a lady, the sweetest person I've ever met. Her name is Miss Tawana, and I can tag her as well. But me and her were the last two patients. We ended up becoming friends, and I'm a yapper. I make friends wherever I go. I'm such a girl's girl. I'm such a hippie at heart. I make friends wherever I go. And me and Miss Tawana, being the last people in the waiting room, we ended up chit-chatting and becoming friends. But me and her were the last two. She was seen before me. I was the last person to go back and be seen. And this is when he makes you get undressed, and he just tells you everything that he's going to do for tomorrow. So I'm talking to him. We go into his office. He tells me to get undressed. So I oblige. I put on the little blue, it's like paper, but it's like, what are they called? The hospital gowns. But it was a short paper made hospital gown. I put that on. I go into his office, and like I said, I was there for Lipo 360 and the breast lift. So I had off my bra because I knew he had to examine my boobs for the breast lift, but I left on my underwear. I wasn't having a BBL. I was having Lipo 360 and in the breast lift. When I got into his office, he noticed I still had on my underwear. He said, "Those have to come off." I said, "Excuse me?" He said, "Take off your underwear." And I looked at the nurse behind me. I was just looking, I don't know, it's like fight or flight. And so I looked back at her like, I don't know what to do, to see if it was okay. And she looked down at the floor like this. She immediately looked down at the floor. She avoided eye contact with me. So I was just like, I'm not having a BBL. And he was like, "Well, I still need you to take off your underwear." And so I immediately started crying. I started crying and I started shaking, and I'm standing there like this. And I go to remove my underwear, and he was like, "Wait, he goes like this. He says, "Wait, you're making me feel like I'm doing something wrong." First red flag, just his choice of words. He was like, "You're making me feel like I'm doing something wrong." And I was like, I'm really uncomfortable. I'm married. You get what I'm saying? I'm really uncomfortable. I don't want to expose my vagina to you you're a grown man. I don't want to expose my to you if I don't have to. And he was like, "Oh, okay, well, you can leave him on, but roll him down." And this is what he made me do, guys. I'm going to stand up to show you guys. So just imagine me. I'm standing in front of this guy. I don't have this on. I don't have on the top. I'm just going to tuck it under my bra. He made me, I'm not going to expose myself to the camera, but he made me pull my underwear down to here. So right before, if I was to open my legs, you guys will see my flower. He made me pull my underwear down to here, to show him, I guess my hips. It didn't make sense to me. It didn't make sense to me. Having me expose the top half of my vagina, it was completely unnecessary. It did not make sense. So he made me pull down my underwear, and he marked my stomach, and he was looking at my stomach and telling me how the lipo was going to go and where he was going to take the fat and stuff from. So that happened, and we just talked, and he just made sure he cleared me for the liposuction. When coming to the breast lift, he kept trying to encourage me to get implants. I told him I didn't want any implants, and then he started explaining all the medical and I guess surgical terminology about getting implants, and we just decided to not move forward with the breast lift because we was like, okay, we're just going to do the Lipo 360, and if I decide to get my breast done again after how this surgery goes, I'll come back and do the breast lift, implants, whatever. That was the night before. And he just really made me uncomfortable. And what I took away from that night is not only how pushy he was and the fact that he made me expose my to him, but also when he went into his phone to take pictures of my body, the before pictures, it was nothing but naked photos of previous women. Nothing but And I was like, why save these? But he had nothing but a lot of naked photos of previous women that he, I guess, did surgery on. This is about to wrap up, so I'll go into detail about the leading.
Oh my god, that is so creepy. Let's go to part 2.
So after the night before, I was cleared for 360 lipo, and we were not going to move forward with the breast. So I get there the day before. I wasn't supposed to have surgery until the afternoon, but they called me and they was like, "Oh, Miss Watts, you know, he finished up with the lady that was before you. He finished up with her. So if you want to come in sooner, you can." So I was like, okay, no problem. Let's just go ahead and get it over with. I came all the way from North Florida down to Miami just to have the surgery. Let's not prolong it. So we got me dressed. We packed my bag. I did not know that I wasn't going to be able to, they were going to take my phone, get my bag as soon as I got there. I'm not knowing this because, like I said, I had a tummy tuck back in 2023, but I had that done by Dr. Jacopo Verone in Houston, Texas. And it was completely different experience, like completely different. They didn't take my clothes off or make me take my clothes off or do any of that prior to my surgery. He had took pictures of me. I'm getting off topic, but basically the situation with Dr. Verone was completely different, and that kind of put me on edge. But I'm very much a pushover, and I'm very much like timid in a lot of situations, so I didn't say anything, you know. And I sincerely regret not just getting my money back and not saying anything. And I think another thing is you can't get your money back or something like that. Anyone who's ever been to Vixen plastic surgery, if you pay, they make you jump through hoops to get your money back, or you waive the thousands of dollars that you pay for your surgery if you don't go through with the surgery. But that's neither here nor there. So the day prior, the day of the surgery they call me in earlier. I get there. He comes in to speak to me. And the pre-consultation was supposed to be like, I want to say 15-30 minutes tops. He sat in there and spoke to me, no exaggeration, for almost 2 hours. He was telling me about how he owns a boat and he goes scuba diving, and how his son is 17, and how he's married. He rarely spoke about his wife, but he did bring her up, I think, like 1 or 2 times in passing, and how his son is 17 and that's his only child. And he just was chit-chatting with me as if we were long lost friends. I thought nothing of it. I think he was trying to make me comfortable with him, giving the tension and the energy between us the day before with him making me expose my despite not having any surgery below the waist. So we sat there, we talked. I told him about, I have a 7-year-old. That's my best friend, my whole heart. I told him about my son. I told him about, you know, being in school and, you know, like pursuing a law degree. And I just, you know, I spoke about my wife, and we just talked. And that's when we finally got into him. I had to get fully naked. Now they give you like these, they look like big face masks with the 2 little hook thingies, and one was supposed to go across my breast, and one was like a pair of pennies, like the little surgical pennies, you guys know, like the little cheap like paper pennies. I had to put those on. He made me remove the pennies. He didn't make me remove the bra because we had already established the day prior that I wasn't having any type of breast surgery. We had already established the day prior as well that I wasn't having a BBL or any below the waist surgery. He made me remove the pennies. And I'm so mad at myself because, like, I should have just got out of there, and I didn't. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm gonna try my hardest to get through these videos, but anybody who's ever been a victim or a victim of It's like the memory, the hindsight is 2020, and the memory of it is like I'm there, I'm back in that situation, and I'm so mad at myself because I should have just left. I should have just left. I should have just left, and I didn't, and I gotta live with that. I gotta live with that. But he made me take off my panties. He was marking my body, and he was marking where he was going to make the incisions and all of that. And he kept writing on my butt. And he kept writing on my butt, no BBL, and like at first he started making circles and stuff on my butt for incisions. And I told him, I said, I'm not getting the BBL. And he was like, oh, right. But what pissed me off is he was just looking through my medical folder prior to picking up the marker and marking on my body then the incisions where he's going to make the incisions. And then he immediately went to my butt after he made me remove my underwear. And so I was like, I'm not getting the BBL. And then he was like, oh, you're right. And he went back to my medical folder. He was like, oh, yeah, you're right. I'm sorry. I had so many clients today, so many patients today. You're just doing lipo. And I was like, yeah. He went back to my butt and he wrote on my butt numerous times, no BBL. And I was just like, you're having fun, aren't you? I said something like that, along the lines of that, like, oh, you're having fun. And he was like, no, I just gotta let them know that we're not doing the BBL. When you go in to have your surgery, they just gotta know no BBL. As you guys can imagine, this is a very like tough and traumatic situation to have to keep living, but I have to tell my story. I have to bring awareness to this. Something has to happen. So but I do value mental health. So this is the last video I'm going to make today, but I promise you guys, I see your comments, I see you reposting, I see you guys doing everything within your power to try to help me get my story out there, and I greatly appreciate it. Like, thank you so much. I'm going to try to get through, this is going to be the last video I make today just for like my mental health, but I promise you guys, I'm not going to leave you in the dark. I'm going to tell it completely to all the way up to 4 days ago when she contacted me and told me that they were going to close out the investigation. And I'm also going to play the videos, and I'm going to show text messages, and I'm going to show proof of everything. I'm going to keep you guys in the loop every step of the way. But yeah. So everything kind of went black again after I couldn't speak. And I just remember, I think I woke up, I was fighting the anesthesia so hard that when we got to the bottom floor of, isn't his office like on the 8th floor? Yeah, I think they're on like the 8th floor. I don't quite remember. But when we got to the lobby of the building, in the elevator, like ding, it kind of like jotted me up, and I immediately just started crying. I saw my wife, and as soon as I saw her, I just burst out in tears, and I started crying because it's just like I felt a little bit safe. Does that make sense? Like I saw her and I felt safe again, and so I just started crying. And I remember her asking the two ladies that wrote me out, she was like, what's wrong with her? Why is she crying? And they was like, oh, she she's okay. And then one of them took my robe and like did this to my face, and she was like, oh, you okay? And she started rubbing my shoulder. She was like, you okay? and they helped her get me in the car, or I don't remember. They helped you get me in the car. So my wife had the car pulled up at the door, and I was thinking it was so weird that she wasn't in the building. And it wasn't until I woke up from anesthesia that she notified me that they would not allow her to come in the building. They basically like was like, stay outside, and she thought that was weird. And then they also told my wife, when she dropped me off for surgery, they told her, they said, oh, we'll let you know an hour or 30 minutes. Which one was it?
I think it was about either one, honestly.
Yeah, they said, we'll let you know 30 minutes to an hour after she's been released out of surgery so you can come pick her up. They called her literally as they was discharging me. She, like, literally, the Airbnb was like 4 or 5 minutes away from, yeah, like 10 minutes tops away from the surgical office. And I'll put the Airbnb we stayed at, all of that. They literally called her as they were discharging me, like, you need to come get her now. So she didn't get the 30-minute to an hour grace period. All of these were red flags, you know, like, but the damage had been done by then. So they helped her get me in the car, and I pass out again because I'm still under anesthesia. They're not even, like, anything could have happened to me. They weren't even supposed to discharge me while I was still under anesthesia. But I'm in and out. So all I remember after that, after they helped her get me in the car, I'm still crying, but I pass out again. We get to the Airbnb, and now it's my wife waking me up, and this was like so painful because she didn't have the wheelchair to help me get in the building. She had to go get one of the little bellhop carts, and she was just like, wait right here, because she tried to like get me to walk. But when she seen like how how much pain I was in and how I kept crying, she went and got like one of the little bellhop carts, and she pulled it to the door, and she was like, babe, I'm going to help you stand up, but I need you to stand up and sit down on this cart. So she was holding on to me. She grabbed me, like she scooped me behind me, and I was holding on to her shoulders, and I just remember her propping my back up against like the little pole thing and helped me onto the cart to get me into the elevator and get me up to the Airbnb. It was like an Airbnb type hotel, or it was like, I don't know, apartments. What was the name of it again? It should be in our email, but I'll give you guys all of that. I'll show proof of all of that. But she helped me get upstairs. And she helped me get into bed, and she just like propped up pillows and put down the little medical, like the little mat thingies, and she helped me get into bed. And 4 hours later I woke up, and I was trying to call her name. I was trying to say Jay, but all I could do was like grunt and stuff. And she jumped up, and I remember saying, I asked her, she gave me some water or something. I was like, I need something to drink. And she gave me a cup of water, and I went to drink it, and it felt like I was swallowing a chunk of meat. And that didn't make sense to me because I hadn't eaten prior to surgery. You can't eat. Like, I think they tell you not to eat anything after 10 p.m. the night before, 12 p.m. the night before. So I hadn't eaten anything, and it felt like I was swallowing a chunk of meat, and it hurted like hell. And I immediately started crying. I winced and I almost dropped the cup, and she grabbed the cup and she sat it down, and I was like, I need to go to the hospital. What pisses me off is that when I woke up, I was literally covered from, because they got incisions under my breast where they did liposuction. I have 2 incisions here. I have 4 incisions in my back. And I have 1 incision in the top of my back. And I have 2 incisions here. What pissed me off is I was covered from, like, literally from chest to, like, the whole faja, which you guys can see in the video prior, like 2 videos prior to this, was covered in blood. And I was like, I need to go to the hospital. That's all. I just remember saying hospital. I think I was trying to say I need to go to the hospital, and I just said hospital. She didn't ask any questions. She grabbed my robe. She put my robe on me over the bloody faja, and she helped me get to the car, and she was taking me to Jackson Memorial Hospital. And I also put that pictures of that in there so you guys can see like the admin date and the checkout date on the Roxy Bolton Rape Center paperwork. I put pictures of that in there, and I put Jackson Memorial Hospital pictures in there where you guys can see my first and my last name when I was admitted and when Roxy Bolton signed off on the kit. But we get to the so she immediately goes to take me to the hospital, and as you guys can see in the video, like 2 videos prior to this, you guys seen my uvula, how it was swollen and just hanging down. So the trauma to my throat was so bad that it partially detached my uvula. And I think what hurts the most is that not only was it supposed to be a tube in my mouth to keep me breathing during surgery, you sick bitches removed the tube from my mouth. Me, I could have died. I'm somebody's mom, I'm somebody's friend, I'm somebody's daughter. Like, I have a life, I have a family, and you climbed on top of me and said as if I was trash. You climbed on top of me and did your business as if I was a fucking toilet. I could have died. And nobody cares. And you did this. And you went about your life and your day as if you just didn't do this to an actual human. I am a human. I am a human. I would never think about doing no shit like that to anybody. And the women who stood back and let that happen to me, you're sick.
Hey, can you imagine? You're going to have a liposuction. You've read all the terms and conditions. You've read all the risk that it takes to do this surgery. And you're okay with it, right? But you didn't expect this other side effects. Allegedly, the doctor doesn't see the patients as human. He just sees them like objects, because the way he did the marking on her body, it was so dehumanizing. It's so sad. Can you imagine the number of people that have been through this and they don't even remember because they didn't expect that this would be part of the package? And I'm sure allegedly the nurses definitely knew something about that, because there's no way. The fact that she said when she was asking questions and she made eye contact with one of the nurses and she looked down, come on, that is like a really big red flag. It's so interesting that most of these surgeries are done by male surgeons. I'm so sorry for what happened to her. Nobody deserves to go through that. And I know that the comments will probably about, oh, why are you going to have surgery? And this is not the point of this video. Everybody deserves respect, especially if you're unconscious. It's really sad. But apparently they had like some Facebook commentary about this hospital, and they are saying that they are supposed to keep you at least 10 to 15 minutes for blood pressure checks and maybe fluid if needed. She barely even woke up for the anesthesia and she was just, get out of here. Someone commented about this that I literally have PTSD from that. I kept getting slapped in the face. Imagine being in your most vulnerable states and having someone slap your face and you are so powerless because you are just laying there. Oh my God. Someone says, same thing happened to me. I couldn't get up. Oh, wow. So this is a pattern of behavior. Like the way he handled her, it's allegedly felt like it's not the first time he's done something like that, because the women she just takes a folder. It's like humans on a conveyor belt, just like next. But have you heard this story? Hop down in the comments and let me know what you think. Did you hear this story? Well, it wasn't a BBL, it was a liposuction. Imagine going for a life-threatening surgery, having to accept all the risk that comes with it, and this happens to you. This is something you have to also keep in mind when you're going to have surgery, because you are in your most vulnerable state and this can happen to you. The part where she said she felt uncomfortable and she didn't leave, she shouldn't blame herself, because even for the smallest things, the low risk situations like doing your nails and they make some design you don't like, you usually just don't say anything. Or you go to the salon, the hairstyle, the hairdresser is cutting it a bit too short, you don't say anything. So imagine that you pay this large amount of money to do a surgery and spend so much so you cannot go back because you're already there. Babane, I'm so sorry that you had to go through that, and justice has to be served for sure. If you stuck around for this video and you enjoyed it, give us a thumbs up. If you like this format of videos, give me a like, and I'll see you in the next one. Doei!